The Adventures of David Liebehart broadcast. Rolling. This is David Liebehart. We just left Rhode Island, and we're driving through Massachusetts. I just want to, I'm sorry if I came off the wrong way to all the people that have helped me with my career, such as Tim Heidecker and Eric Walheimer and Jonah Motion. I am grateful for everything you all have done for me to make my career shine as a musician, actor, and a songwriter. And I'm sorry if in the past interviews if I came out ungrateful or unappreciative. I am grateful for all of the good that you all have done for me, and I am grateful that you all have made it possible for me to have the success I do have. Wow. I'm trying to think of a song about junk food, and it just hasn't come to me. I keep on having Tim Heidecker and Eric Walheimer come to me in thought and says that because you didn't come from Boston. I don't know they're kind of like angry at me. I don't know. They're giving me a dirty look in my thought, in my mind. You didn't come from Boston. I want to know what that is all about. I've traveled through Boston. I went to Berkeley School for a while in Boston, and I used to be a street musician at Copley Square in Boston. I used to work for Fellini's in Boston, and I don't know what I applied at all the news and journal places for employment, but nothing seemed to come through. So I went to stay with my half-brother in Pennsylvania, and then I moved back to Chicago. Then I came to Los Angeles to live. But anyway, I'm trying to think of a junk food song to make, because everywhere I look on the road, there's stuff that's not good for people. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's. They need to make a restaurant, a fast food restaurant that is vegan, that serves stuff that's good for people, not junk food, because, I guess people would live longer if we had more healthy stuff in our, I agree with Jonah, even though I don't practice what I preach, and I eat meat, and I eat a lot of candy bars and sugar, more than I should. I need to get back into being a vegan, because I'll be honest with you, when I truly was a vegan and I stayed with my cousin Albert Grange, I didn't catch any colds or flus or anything when I was with him and hung out with him, and was a pure vegan. And there's something to eating right. The Corinthians that have an underground base somewhere in Massachusetts that work with Bob Brown, they're all vegans, and they live to be 3,000 years old, and they're very healthy, and they stay young looking, and they're vibrant and outgoing. So we all can learn from the Corinthians to eat right, and by eating right, we think right, and we live right, and we live a long life. So I am going to try to get back into being a vegan. It's not easy, because I love granola bars, and like the Bible says, all have sinned and come short of the glory of God, and I'm a sinner when it comes to sugar. I love tapioca pudding. I love brownies. I love things that aren't good for me. But anyway, one of these days, like Jackie Gleason says, one of these days, I'll say to the moon of health, not to the moon, but eating right. I'm a big fan of Jackie Gleason. I want to give my condolence to a favorite comedian, Don Rickles, that passed on. I thought he was Jewish, and he was talented. He was a brilliant comedian. I felt he should have been given his own show. When I was growing up, I saw him host the Johnny Carson show when Johnny Carson couldn't make it. I seen him on the playing a salesman that got arrested on the Andy Griffith show. I saw him on McHale's Navy. I saw him growing up on on the Ed Sullivan Show. I mean, he's just super talented. My condolence for the deaf of Don Rickles, this outstanding comedian. He did his last show in Providence, Rhode Island, where I just came from. And I'm going to have a positive note, even though people didn't come to the show. I'm grateful for the 3 people that did come to the show. We still had a good show anyway, and we got paid for it. And last night, I normally get pictures. People want to get pictures with me, but nobody wanted a picture with me. And it was after Joan and I divided up expenses. We both were left with only $120 each. So we got to pay Phil for the drive and for other expenses. This is a big labor of love, you know. So I hope you fans sincerely appreciate it. Sometimes we don't break in even with the shows we do, but I come to your cities and your towns because I love you, and I'm grateful for your support and your help. And I'm traveling through Massachusetts, and it's just all these beautiful trees and rivers and lakes. I mean, it's good to see that there's some parts of the country where it's not all buildings and cement. Traveling from the south all the way to the north where the Yankees are, it's good to see that they still respect nature and the beautiful trees on all sides of the road. And I know during fall, around November, they turn different colors and they're just beautiful, like the firecrackers that come out on the 4th of July. I do want to apologize to my fans and to Jim Henson's production. The Bible says you can't serve 2 masters, and I was supposed to do on stage with Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog, the puppets with Chip the Black Boy and Duck the Dog, but I already made a commitment to tour on the East Coast with Jonah. But so like the Diana Ross says in her song, someday we'll be together, and I will be together with Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy and in Henson Productions. But it just didn't happen this time around. But anyway, it's the sky is blue. I gotta think of a song to write about junk food. Here we go again. McDonald's and Wendy's and Taco Bell. I'm gonna try McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King. Why are you serving us junk food? McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's. You serve us stuff that isn't good for us. You serve us fried hamburgers. You serve us things that aren't good for our belly a thing. Why don't you make a vegetarian meal for people to be healthy still? McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's. You serve people junk food. All the sugar is bad. And Dunkin' Donuts, you are like Saturn, and you make me sad. You make sugar in everything that is poison. McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's, and Dunkin' Donuts. There's too much sweets, too much things, too much fried food, too much fried sweets, too much drinks, too much fried food. One day when I become a millionaire, I'm gonna make a vegan restaurants everywhere. McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's, you make bad food. McDonald's, Wendy's, and Wendy's, why can't you make vegan food? Why can't you make vegan food? Anyway, that's all that comes to my mind. So I will write a better song than that. The guy we stayed with, what was his name?
Stephen.
Stephen was supposed to record a song about Lady Elaine, and he never recorded it. And I hope that Jonah will. Won't you give Lady Elaine some love? Won't you give Lady Elaine some love? She works a boomerang on people that upset her up above. Won't you give Lady Elaine some love? She's an old woman that looks like her. She looks like Robin Williams in the face. When I first saw her, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was done in black and white. She had long hair, and she was happy and fair. Won't you give Lady Elaine some love? Won't you give Lady Elaine some love? She's retired at the Children's Museum in Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Won't you give Lady Elaine some love? Won't you give Lady Elaine some love? And she wouldn't have to use the boomerang and turn things upside down. She would fall in love. She would be a happy thing. Won't you give Lady Elaine some love? Won't you give Lady Elaine some love? She's an old puppet that needs to be loved by you and me. Won't you give Lady Elaine some love? Won't you give Lady Elaine some love? She's a puppet that's stored at the Children's Museum in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Give Lady Elaine some love. Give Lady Elaine some love. It's a song I wrote about Lady Elaine. You know, Stephen never recorded like he was supposed to. He told me I should write a song about Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and I said, what do you want me to write about? He says, well, when he was growing up, he had a crush on this old woman named Lady Elaine. That's what Stephen told me. That he dreamed about dating Miss Lady Elaine if she was a real person, and she's a puppet from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. When she gets mad, she puts a boomerang in her hand, and everything goes haywire and turns upside down. You remember Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, when Lady Elaine got mad, that's what she used to do.
You know who my first crush was?
Ooh.
Miss Piggy.
Miss Piggy, wow. Was she single?
She was with Kermit, I think.
Oh, yeah, she was. Why don't you and her, you write a song about being in love with Miss Piggy?
Let's hear it.
You were in love with Miss Piggy. Jonah was in love with Miss Piggy, but he couldn't date her because she was with Kermit the Frog. Jonah was in love with Miss Piggy. He thought she was his cutie. She saw her on the Muppet Show dancing and found when she got mad at Kermit the Frog, she punched him and threw him around. Yes, but Jonah's in love with Miss Piggy, and he's gonna take her from Kermit the Frog. He's being a selfish, unkind hog. Jonah's in love with Miss Piggy. He feels she's cute and fatty. She's got lots of love to give to him and Kermit the Frog. Jonah's in love with Miss Piggy. She likes her better than Twiggy. Jonah's in love with Miss Piggy. He likes her better than Twiggy. That's all I can think of.
Nice.
We're writing songs about puppets. Lady Elaine from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and Miss Piggy. But I felt she was more pretty. They made her look like a man. They cut all her hair off. When she first was on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, she had long hair. They cut it short. It looks too boyish. Yeah. They put her in the military of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood as a puppet. Looks like the platypuses had lots of romance. They had little tiny puppets puppets that were platypus puppets, and King Friday and Saturday, and I think King Tuesday, a little boy puppet. Yeah, a lot of romance on the Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Yeah, they did. I had a crush on Lady Evelyn. She was a real human. But I faxed her back. She lives in New York now. I told her I really like Lady Evelyn. She looks like she's mad at the world. She's got a frown. But anyway, I felt she was cute. She reminded me of my dead cousin Linda McKinnon, Lady Evelyn. You hear this thing? I really felt you were a good actress, and you were a role model for me to get on the Tim and Eric Awesome Show. Great job growing up. And then the guy, Mr. Finley, who delivered the mail, he's a Christian Scientist like me. I want to team up with him and have him on my Space Ranger show when I get it started. I want to have Lady Evelyn on it if I get shows started someday somehow. I want to do a space version of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. You know, if anybody out there wants to sponsor me doing that, that would be cool. Well, millions and thousands of trees. Donna doesn't want me to make copies of my music, but there's billions and thousands of trees everywhere. Abundance. I used to belong to the Sierra Club, and it's a good club to belong to. They teach you to appreciate nature. What the Sierra Club does, if there's a fire in a forest preserve, we go and plant trees there. If there's animals that have been misplaced, we pay for their food and them to be placed back in the forest where it's more safer for them. So it's a good club to belong to called the Sierra Club. They look out and care for nature, plants, and animals. I used to belong to the Save a Well Club that the original star of Hawaii Five-O, Jack Lord, belonged to. He was converted from being a Catholic to being a Christian Scientist, and he did the original Hawaii Five-O, not the one that you see now on CBS. And Jack Lord spent a lot of his money and his time suing different companies for polluting the Pacific Ocean, where a lot of fish and whales have died. I don't know if that organization is in place now, but it was a good, healthy organization. So, anyway, I think I've done a good show, and I just want to wish everybody success, peace, and happiness, and tune in to see the David Liebhardt Show again. And we're trying to do something similar to a Kickstarter to raise money for our new album, to get platinum records, to get records made. We have cassettes made. So I'm going to be doing portrait sketches for donations for a Kickstarter to pay for records to be done of the new album. So I can do a painting of your dog, your cat, or your favorite person that you can give to someone for Christmas as a Christmas gift. We'll be selling also our merch, giving our merch away for the Kickstarter for raising money to get a record. There's a cup of me that you can buy, that you can have coffee with me every morning by buying a cup of me. There's a pen of me you can buy, and all these things. You can have breakfast with me every morning if you buy one of the cups of me on my website at artbyliebehart.com. That's ARTBYLIEBEHART.com. Well, anyway, I think I'm tapped out from being interviewed, but before I go, I want to let you know, welcome to New Hampshire. Before we go, I was a lumberjack in New Hampshire when I got out of the Navy, and I hated living in New Hampshire because I had to cut pine trees down, and and then I had to saw them after I cut them down in pieces so people could be warm during the winter. And I got so tired of that job being a lumberjack in the early 70s, and I got out of the service until I hitchhiked to live in Massachusetts. And but I we're not going to be touring in New Hampshire, but I lived in New Hampshire, and I also belong to the Railroad Museum, the Kennebunk Railroad Museum in New Hampshire. And anyway, in the early 70s, I spent some time here in New Hampshire. We just got to New Hampshire. Anyway, I think I'm tapped out with the broadcast, but I love you all. And Tim and Eric, I'm sorry I came across the wrong way, but I am grateful for everything you've done for me in my acting and music career. And same goes for Jonah Motion. I'm sorry in the past interview that I complained about you all. I'm grateful for everything you've done for me. And I'm grateful I got paid as an actor, and I am grateful that I wrote songs for that will always be a road. They're always the songs I wrote or a trademark of me, even though I'm not saying this to be. I didn't get paid for them, but I did get paid as an actor. But I'm grateful I got paid as an actor on the show, and I'm grateful for all the work, and I'm grateful for the past touring I did with Tim and Eric for 5 years, and then I toured with Jonah for 4. I toured with Adam Papagan for 6 years. All this has helped my career, and I did the spinoff. Check it out with Dr. Steve Brule. And then I did shows that didn't take. We did a Squall's Duty that was supposed to be a spinoff from the Tim and Eric Awesome Show, Great Job. That didn't take. We were supposed to, James Squall and I were supposed to be the original Eric Andre show, but they felt that Hannibal Burr and Eric Andre were better candidates. I'm happy for their success doing that show instead. Then I was supposed to do another spinoff that didn't take off, Getting It Done with Richard Dunn, and then I did another spinoff from the Check It Out with Dr. Steve Brule, was called Bag Boys. So I'm knowing the best is yet to come, and that there's going to be an open door that no one can close. I remember working with Della Reese. She said that when we were on Chico and the Man together, she had a show called Call Della that was a spinoff, and that didn't take, and so she got called to read for Touched by an Angel that she was on for 8 seasons, and that became a very successful show. So we need to pray for Della Reese. She's been very sick, and we need to focus thoughts of health and healing for her. She's a very talented woman and a brilliant singer as well. And my favorite song that she wrote is Happy Am I, I'm Rich, I'm Happy. I can't sing it because it's copyrighted and owned by her, but she wrote a song about being prosperous called Happy Am I, I'm Rich, I'm Happy. And I used to attend Della Reese's church services. She used to have them originally at her home in Bel Air, California. Then she had them at a hotel in Beverly Hills, and then she has them now at a Lutheran church wow, it's at the tip of my tongue, and Inglewood, California. So it's time to pay the toll, and it's time for me to go off the air.
Hi.
Going.
Good.
All
How you
the
doing?
best.
Good, thanks.
Thank you. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.
Hey everybody, Jonah here. We recently released a big collection of David Liebehart vocals and other song elements. If you want to make your very own David Liebehart remix, you can go download that for free at the Bandcamp page, davidliebehart.bandcamp.com. Not too much else new these days. I've been in the thick of booking tours for David for August, September, October in the U.S. and just visited him this past weekend to do a little work. We recorded for the new Chip the Black Boy album, which is almost done. We recorded some new episodes of the podcast. Also, we were thinking it might be interesting to have David interview people for this podcast. So if anyone has any ideas or contacts with people that would make good interview subjects living in Los Angeles, you can contact us through Twitter, Facebook, or artbyliebehart.com. All right, till next time.